passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on, so Nuoff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the round pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And it definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down it towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. It's now Pike going to have a go at Werrell. Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such trouble. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot of fun. Yeah, and it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching. And Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there. Is that really bunching up now?
Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
Oh, they're going to toss it. They haven't got it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry. Good evening and welcome back to Tuesday nights. It can only mean one thing. It's the UK SimRacers MX5 Season 2 for 2023, Round 6 at Snetterton. I am James Parfitt. I'm going to be joined in the booth by the one and only Mr. Zach Sweeney once again, and we're going to open up as we normally do with the standings currently here after last week's race. In the pros, it is currently Jamie Ayres out in front on 662 with PVG on 647, Tom Griffiths on 608. Then we got the SOB, Miles Owens, John Sylvester and Ewan Bramer 584, 583 and 582 respectively. Steve Hebbard on 484, Daniel Hunt on 470, Charles Kellerman is there on 337, Ralph Cullen 281 with Martin Sampson 239 and Darren McLean in 142. So here in the AM Championship, we have got Arnold Chagnon out in front on 466 with Darryl Wright on 461. Andy Littler 349, Jason Haddington 297, Alan Toon on 290 in the top 5. A wonderful job from Alan Toon. Dale Bennison, Dan Lewis, Roger Morton, Jordan Syret, Mick Barry, Steve Hansford and Anthony Jacobson. Now in the team standings, it is Momo out in front on 2257 with SOB on 2096. Work guard by result on 870. Safeguard by result on 775. And 785 and Air Smart Racing on 775. Optical Green on 610. DOF Reality 559. Pure Sims 408 and Results Clothing Eye Racing here as well. Welcome in Hill and Tony. The intro is lone is just so action packed. So there you go. Hello from Germany. And of course, we have now got the commentator standings, the most important ones here this evening. And as you can see, I'm still out in front over Mr. Zach Sweeney. I've got 1,518. Zach's got 1,412. So over 106 points back at the moment there, Mr. Sweeney. Welcome in. How are you?
Well, again, similar to last week, James, I was having a really good week until not only did I hear your voice and then I saw these standings and then I was just like, do you know what? It is actually really disgusting to see. But I haven't really had the best of luck, I'll be honest. You know, I've gone for some long shots. I've been, let down a little bit. So, I'm feeling confident today, though, because Snetterton is, I love Snetterton. For obviously those that don't know, I'm surprised. Well, for one, you don't know. You must be new. Snetterton is one of my favourite tracks in the world. It's my local track. Love coming here. Love watching racing here. I think it's brilliant. So hopefully more luck prediction-wise for me today. And if there isn't, well, I'm never going to Snetterton again.
All right, well, there you go. That is from Zach. Good evening to Ewan Bramer. Should make for some interesting racing tonight. It should. Here alone at this full course Snetterton circuit. It's going to be exciting once more. And the format will be qualifying will be 15 minutes. Heat 1 will be 15 minutes. Heat 2 will also be 15 minutes with a top 9 reverse. Heat 3 will be a random reverse. And Heat 4 is also random. We don't know it at the moment, but we will do a little bit later on, so we will bring you that in about 45 minutes time after these guys have done their 3 heats all together. It's tell us about Snetterton then, Zach. It is your local circuit. Where are we expecting all the overtakes to take place?
Well, to be fair, Snetterton is a little bit funny for overtaking. It depends what you're racing. So obviously single seaters and things, it's quite a difficult track to overtake. Radicals and things like that, it's quite difficult to overtake. MX5s on the other hand, they're light, they're nimble, they're fast, and I think we should be in for some good racing. Obviously, we've got one of the longest straights, I think the longest straight in the UK, in the form of the Bentley Straight, on that run into the chicane through Bundle and Nelson. So maybe look out for some late braking opportunities there. Again, apart from that, you're not really on the brakes for very long. Agostini, the hairpin, just at the back end of the circuit, quite in the middle of the circuit, to be fair. The hairpin corner, quite late on the brakes. If you can carry the speed through turn 3 at Palmer, very easy to get a move done to the inside of Agostini. Oggies could be an outside shot. I've seen it both in the sim and in real life. People setting up quite nice switchbacks going into the next right-hander at Williams. So if you're creative, every corner's an opportunity. But more mainstream things, look out for heavy braking zones. Try and get yourself alongside quite convincingly. But yeah, I think we're just going to be in for quite an interesting race. However, what I will say, qualifying might be a little bit important going into Heat 1, purely because that it can be ever so slightly difficult to overtake here. But it's never impossible. Don't count anything out.
Okay, well, there you go. Hill and Toe had to do a 7-lap license at Snet. It was hell. But these days I can race there, so they're happy. There you go. So there you go. Hill and Toe having to do a 7-lap license on that one as well. And obviously Tom Griffiths recently took an MX5 round Snetterton as well. If you haven't seen that video, I don't know if you're in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, join the Discord. Links are down in the description below. Don't forget, give it a big old thumbs up, turn on the bells, and subscribe to the channel as well, because we've got a lot of racing coming up here over this week. No fewer than we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 races up until Sunday night. Of course, we had the JPB Clio Cup yesterday as well, and the LSRL GT3 there. So that was 15 for the week. So we've got all your racing covered that you need here this evening. And Pete Van Gaal is in 5th place. Newman is in front on 2:05.754 at the moment in practice. Before we go into open qualifying here as well. Interesting 15 minutes you say about qualifying. Is it more important at this track than it would be at others?
It depends, obviously, relatively speaking. Let me actually just refresh myself on the schedule really quickly. So we've had Mosport, Okayama, Long Beach, Interlagos, and Suzuka up until this point in the season. So far this season, I would say that qualifying is probably more important than it was, say, Interlagos, because that was quite a good track for overtaking. Relative to all the other ones, though, I'd say it's quite the same. But then again, these guys are the MX5s. Let's not put anything past them. These guys make overtakes in places you wouldn't dream of overtaking. So I wouldn't say qualifying is maybe completely important. I would say it does help. But if you can just be creative and be clean and pick your way through, I think you'll be perfectly fine to carve your way through the field. And obviously people are going to be hoping that track position isn't that important, because they've got to deal with 3 reverse grid races, which probably wouldn't be great if track position meant so much. But yeah, I'm sure we should see plenty of overtaking. But still look out for people trying to put a good lap in, just because it's a nice helping hand.
Okay, so what are we expecting around the last part of the circuit? You know, up through Brundle, Nelson as well. What do we think? Is there going to be action up through there? Because it's quite a tight section of the circuit, isn't it?
Yes. So obviously, as you come through Brundle and Nelson, you've got to be very, very careful through that chicane, purely because of how huge the sausage curbs are on the inside. I remember commentating on the TC UK Championship. They obviously race in touring cars on R-Factor 2. And one of the Honda Civics literally took off. They went in sideways to Nelson, went over that sausage curb and literally bounced. It took off. So you really do have to be very careful. It's tight, it's twisty, and it will spit you out. Then obviously you run your way through the right-hander, very quick right-hander, dip down through the bomb hole, and then into the very long right-hander of Coram. One of the best places, actually, if you are going to go to Snetterton, watch cars, especially high downforce cars going through Coram. James is laughing because I've said bomb hole twice. But if you are going to Snetterton, watch high downforce cars dance their way through Coram. It's so good to see the downforce and how on edge they are. And then they've got a smash on the brakes into Murray's. I don't think we're going to see any overtaking from Nelson through the bomb hole, Coram and Murray's, purely because it is just so difficult to do. But it's one of the biggest driving difficulties of the circuit. It's where you can make up the most time if you are committed. So if you're trying to extend a gap, if you're trying to close a gap, you're not going to overtake into them, but you can definitely chip out a couple of tenths through that last sector for sure.
Yeah, I think that's going to be interesting to watch as well, how they get through that last section. It is technically it's a long right-hander that just constantly goes and goes and goes. So they will have to be feathering the throttle and really trying their all, I think, would be the word I'm looking for, to try and keep the car on track, because obviously I have seen sights of people going off there and sliding and everything else. And well, we're in for an exciting one, I think. We always get that delivered from the UK SimRacers, and I think we're going to be in for it again here once more, as well, with the 4:15 minutes and the top 9 reversal race too. It's going to be interesting. They're on their fast laps now, so time should start coming through once more. I jumped and landed fine in Discord. Woo, says Heel and Toe. I enjoyed ACC's M2 at Snetterton as well, so there we go. We're on iRacing, of course. So, yeah, this could be an interesting one, I think, here, considering where we're at. If they do that, that might not always work out as it did do for Jamie Ayres there.
Maybe not. I don't know. The thing with Snetterton, it is such a driver's track, so mistakes will be punished, right? There's no two ways about it. If the car's unstable, chances are you're going to have a big enough, because especially on the exit here, actually, off the exit of Murray's, you run wide there, you are slowing yourself down. It's a long run towards Richards at turn 1. So yes, be on the limit, but be very careful not to be over the limit. But that's what qualifying is all about, isn't it, James? Is getting as close as you physically possibly can scrape to the limit of the car. Someone that's doing that is Steve Hefford. John Silvestre just tops him by about a tenth and a half or so, but I have to say, Steve Hefford is such a phenomenal driver. The fact that after, what was it? When did he leave us? Was it after Long Beach or the week before Long Beach? Mm-hmm. And then he has that sabbatical for a few weeks, comes back into Suzuka and absolutely rocks the world. And now, at the moment, he's provisionally on a front row. If there's anyone who can conquer a driver's circuit like Snetterton, I think it's going to be Steve Hefford.
Yeah, I think it will. And at the end of the day, he is doing a fabulous job at the moment. He's sitting in second place there. Is Steve currently at the moment with Sylvester, Hefford, Ayres, Bramer, Griffiths, Hunt, Van Gaal, Kellerman, Cullinan, Haddington and Wright. We've got no time on the board at the moment for this man, Mr. Pete Newman. Incredibly quick, but he's not where we would expect Pete Newman to be in the championship at the moment.
No, I've actually just had a look. He's behind both AM leaders of Arnold Chenier and Darrell Wright, which I have to say is incredibly surprising. 3 wins, which is tied with Daniel Hunt, Tom Griffiths and PVG, right? He is such a quick driver. Pete Newman is that guy. I think back to Catalunya and Okayama, where it's just like Pete Newman spun off. Okay, cool, he's on the back of the leader. He is just that quick. He's got a ton of potential, and if things went right this season for him, he could so easily be leading the championship. And I'd say that, hand on heart, I would take that to my grave. He could be leading, or at the very least be in the fight for the championship. But unfortunately, there's been a couple of strings of bad luck. A double DNF at Mosport alongside another DNF the week after Okayama, 2 DNFs in Long Beach, a DNF at Interlagos, a DNF at Suzuka. He's averaged, sort of a DNF and a half per round, which is not the level of consistency you need to have as a championship runner. 4 races, the win is worth 60 points. That's 240 points worth on offer per round of this championship. I say that he puts it on pole position, but it's more just the fact that if you're going to compete in a championship, there's 240 points on offer, and a DNF is the last thing you want next to your score.
Yeah, definitely, and unfortunately for you, you don't want any DNFs on your score like you had with Daniel Hunt in race 4 last week, of course, which jeopardised your scores in the Commentators' Championship, which I'd like to point out you are losing as well. But some quick times on the board. The first man under the 205s is Newman, 205 at .995 here with Pete Van Gaal in second, Sylvester, Hefford, Ayres, Bramer and Griffiths and Hunt. Newman again improving in sector 1. Let's see how he does for the rest of this lap, of course. Welcome in, Thijs Van Gaal. Much love to you. So IR only and UK Simmers or worldwide? Well, considering we've got a few people from the Netherlands and Ireland and Wales, I'd probably say worldwide here, sir. So if you want to join the UK SimRacers Discord, I have posted the link in chat currently as well, so you can jump into the UK SimRacers Discord and look at getting yourself involved in some great MX5 action here. Daniel Hunt also green in Sector 1, so let's see what happens with him and whether or not he can do the job this week. It's been weird with Dan Hunt, hasn't it, this season? He's sitting currently 8th, sorry. A long way back, 192 points back from Jamie Ayres. I don't know if he's not been on the ball or if he's just caught himself up in some stuff that he shouldn't have done, or consistency. It's a tricky one with Dan Hunt this season.
Yeah, he has. I don't know, because he's been quick. Let's not beat around the bush there. He's been quick. I think for Dan Hunt, it's a similar boat to Pete Newman, in all fairness. He's just not really had his time to shine. I mean, he's got 3 wins, 5 podiums, and he's been inside the top 10 on 13 of the 20 occasions that we've got for the season so far. Really good stats. But when you look at Jamie Ayres, 5 wins, 11 podiums, and 16 top 10s over the same amount of time period, that's the level of consistency Dan Hunt needs to rise to. And I'm not saying he's incapable of it, because he very much is. He is one of those drivers that week in, week out will be one to talk about. I think it has just been a string of, of poor results. He's had a bit of bad luck. But then again, we say that. Think back to Brands Hatch last season. 4 DNFs for Daniel Hunt, and he still came through to obliterate the championship. So don't count him out until it's over, but it's really not been the start that he would have wanted. I don't know what the root cause of it is. Maybe bad luck, poor mistakes, whatever it is. Dan Hunt will know about that and will try to rectify it. But yeah, it's been a bit of an iffy one, and I think that can be the same said for quite a number of drivers, in all fairness. You know, Miles Owens hasn't exactly been on top form this season, similar to Dan Hunt. So yeah, I don't really know exactly what it is, but I think a couple of people definitely could be wanting more, and Daniel Hunt is one of them.
Yeah, I think Ewan Bramer and Tom Griffiths is another man. Both men really could do with a little bit more luck. Griffiths, is, as we know, is naturally quick anyway. Joined up with Momo last week. Did an incredible job for them as well. You know, took the win in race 1. He was absolutely flying in race 3. Finished second there as well. So he's another man that can be on it when he's on his day. But I think that can go with pretty much any of the pros here. When they're on it, they're on it. And that's the thing. They're very tough to beat when they are full bore going for it. And I think that's going to pay out tonight. You're going to see it here. We've got some very close times at the moment as well. We've got a second gap down to Steve Hefford in 6th place, give or take. So it could be a tight one. Griffiths goes and pops it onto a pole. Another man in the 205s. Newman 205.7. Griffiths 205.65. Hunt in the 205s as well. 205.987. Sylvester moves ahead of Hefford. Owens there doesn't get any improvements. 207.430. So Alan Toon not got a time on the board as of yet from Mr. Toon. I don't know if he's struggling with the track here, or off tracks have been not lending himself too well as well. But this man did turn 70 the other week. 70 years of age.
Wow. Again, respect to him. The fact that he is still going is phenomenal. And I think it goes to show the accessibility of motorsport and sim racing in general. Obviously, we spoke about Nenad Vladisevic last week about his ability to, control the sim with his head and his mouth, which is phenomenal in its own right. But more just sort of allowing people of all age groups, all capacities to compete in sim racing is a really, really good thing. It makes it really accessible. And yeah, it's nice. I know there's a championship out there. I think it's called like 65 plus racing adventures or something, where the championship is exclusively for people above the age of 65. And it's just a great way of opening the doors for quote unquote older people. I won't call them old because I feel that's a bit disrespectful. Maybe older people, certainly older than I am.
More experienced.
More experienced, exactly. More experienced. That doesn't seem very experienced from Sir Alan though.
No.
I'll put it that way.
But more
yeah,
experienced individuals.
The more experienced individuals. There we go. See, I'm being taught respect from James Parfitt. It's great. But yeah, it's a good thing because, you know, my grandma, she's always like, so what? They race online, do they? And I have to explain it to her. Like, yes, grandma, they race online. So the fact that, you know, it's just able for them to jump on and get used to the new technology and things that are coming out with sim racing, I think it's great. And to be fair, he's not slow. Yes, obviously we sort of say, oh, come on, Alan, give it a bit more, push a bit harder, defend a bit harder. But it is to be fair to him, he's really not that far off the pace considering.
No, and he does an absolutely stellar job. I've given up trying to explain it to my dad as well. My dad does not understand what I do at all. He hasn't got a clue. And when I try explaining it to him, he looks at me with such a blank face that I could be talking in French, to be honest, because he just hasn't got an idea about it. And I tried explaining it to somebody the other day. They were like, oh, so you work from home? I'm like, yeah. They're like, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Right. So, and I tried explaining it, and they just looked at me, and you could see it. It was just nothing.
What?
There was nothing in there at all that would make them fully understand what we do here at JPB, of course. And it's a very niche thing that we do.
I was about to say, yeah.
Yeah, it's very niche what we do, and not everybody understands it. You know, people don't get why leagues need things broadcasted and why do they want to be on YouTube and all of this sort of stuff. And my dad asked the same question. He's like, people actually hire you to do that? And I'm like, yes, Dad. And you talk about fake cars around real life circuits. Yes, Dad. Why do they do that then? And I'm like, oh, I've given up.
Because it's fun.
I've just given up. I'm not even going to go there.
Yeah,
I just can't be asked to keep explaining myself to the same individual over and over again. Right, we're coming towards the end of qualifying, Mr. Sweeney. It's that time of the day. Pick your poison.
Oh, wow. Oh, Tom Griffiths is looking quite... I mean, obviously he's got the experience and he's driven this car in real life around here. So he's got no excuse. I'm sure he'll find one. Do you know what? For race one, I'm going to go with Tom Griffiths. Yeah, no, I'm confident. I'm sticking with him.
Okay, well, I'd already written mine down and it was Pete Newman. So I'm glad that you didn't pick Newman. Otherwise, I would have been shot on that one. Right, here we go. It is the grid for race one. It is Tom Griffiths. It is Pete Newman on the front row with Daniel Hunt and John Sylvester on row 2. Jamie Ayres, Pete Van Gaal on row 3. Steve Hefford, Miles Owens on row 4. Ewan Bramer, Charles Kellerman round out the top 10 and row 5. Ralph Cullen and Darrell Wright there on row 6. Jason Huntington, Dan Lewis on row 7 and Andy Littler and Sir Alan Toon on row 8. So top 16 MX5 drivers in the UkSimracers are going to be up and running and underway very, very shortly as we stare at Tom Griffiths there as well. Evening. Thijs Van Gaal is gone for Van Gaal, funny enough. So Phil, get your guesses in. Yeah, I know. Hill and Toe, if you want to have a go as well and see if you can pick the winner of race one. And it is just the winner, okay? It's not the top 3, top 4, top 5. It's just the winner. I've got Pete Newman. Zach's got Tom Griffiths. And we will find out when Newman and Hefford get on to the grid here. 16 cars racing down into turn 1 and 2. That's going to be interesting.
It is. It's going to be very, very interesting. Obviously, Richards is quite a fast corner, fast right. In some cars, it is literally just a lift. And then, obviously, you're into the braking zone of the hairpin, which can bunch up quite a lot. But we'll find out. And we've got 15 minutes of racing action for Heat 1.
Then we have 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And we are underway. We are green for race 1 here at Snetterton. Tom Griffiths got an absolute flyer alongside Pete Newman. He's come over. He's taken the line away from Newman into Richards. What about Hunt as well? Hunt's trying to go up the inside. He's pushed Newman on the outside here of turn 1. Hunt's got a little bit squirrely there as well. Nearly made contact with Pete Newman. Newman slots back into second as well. Jamie Ayres up 1 place over Sylvester, who's now being pushed out by Pete Van Gaal as well. Action all the way through here, Zach, but everyone got away cleanly.
Yeah, Newman had a really nice little look to the inside of turn 2 on Griffiths. Griffiths just went a little bit wide, missed the apex ever so slightly, and Pete Newman was like, yeah, thank you very much, mate. filled the gap on the inside, was literally a car's width, so smooth. But now this run into Agostini, the first major braking zone after a long run. No changes for the lead. Dan Hunt under pressure from Jamie Ayres, the championship leader, trying to pick his way through. But the top two now starting to break away ever so slightly. A couple of car lengths between them, and Tom Griffith's going to be raring to get that lead back.
Yeah, he definitely is. He's going to have a go here on that run from Hamilton down into Oggies here. The right-hander. Round they go on this infield section of this Snetterton circuit. Round out through Williams, slight little lift to get the car hooked up, and away they go. And that is all the gap down into 11th place at the moment. With
Newman's wide.
Oh, Newman's is off the circuit. He's lost a little bit of place. He's lost to Griffiths. He's going to lose it to Hunt as well. Hunt comes streaming through the middle there, Zach. Takes them all and goes from third to first. Newman slots it on the inside of Griffiths as well. He's having to go. There's contact with the SOBs behind. That's Ayres and Sylvester door rubbing here as they go off that run, round through the bomb hole and then down into Coram. It's Hunt, Griffith, Newman there as well, as Miles Owens has been off the side of the circuit once more here.
A very mature end to lap number 1. Daniel Hunt leads them. Sensational move. He had that run. And that's what I mean about Williams. It's such an important corner to put your foot down because the Bentley straight is so long. One mistake and your problem is exaggerated for a long time. But now with this run through the pit straight, you can see side by side in the background. That's between PVG and Steve Hefford for 6th place. Drag race now towards Richards at turn number 1. It's the left-hand side for Steve Hefford, the long way round, and here we go, the fight for the lead. Tom Griffiths trying to send the move on Dan Hunt, the up and under potentially from Pete Newman. 4 or 5 cars nearly all in tow for the lead.
Yeah, then we got Steve Hefford behind that as well. He's battling out with PVG, Ewan Bramer, Ralph Cullen and Charles Kellerman. Newman is still settled into third. He's got a bit of a poor run though at this moment in time, and Jamie Ayres is going to try and get alongside him here as well as they're going round the right-hander turn 3 before they go off on that run into Agostini. And we've got Hunt, Griffiths, Newman, Ayres, Sylvester in there. But not far back is PVG. Behind that is Steve Hefford. Behind that, Ewan Bramer, Ralph Cullen, Charles Kellerman and Darrell Wright is all sitting on the back of this pack with Miles Owens as well in there for good fun. So we've got the top 12, about the top 11, not very far apart here, Zach, and some great action all the way through this field.
Absolutely loving every single second of it. And don't forget, guys, we've still got just under just over 11 and a half minutes left of it. This train extends all the way back to P11. Miles Owens is the back end of this train, nose to tail the entire field, and this is Jamie Ayres, the championship leader, of course, on the back of Pete Newman, the Pure Sims driver, a huge name in sim racing, it must be said, competed towards the top end and now is under a little bit of pressure. Jamie Ayres pulls out to the right hand side of the circuit. It's the outside as you run your way through Brundle, but then into Nelson it switches to the inside. Mind the sausage into deep. Pete Newman tries to get the up and under. There's contact. He's sent sideways and he's collected. Was that John Sylvester with him as well?
Yeah, Newman and Sylvester making contact there. Sylvester coming up alongside Pete Newman. Newman did look like he was just about to run out of road anyway. Looked a little bit on the slide. Daniel Hunt takes the final place at the first place over Griffiths on that run through Coram and down into Murray's. These guys are side by side once more here as well on that run down into turn 1. Hunt on the left hand side in the red and white. Griffiths on the right hand side, on the left hand side now with the Momo and the blue roll bar. How is this going to work out going down into Riches they go? They settle in once more here for Hunt and Griffiths. Wow, that was incredible there. And unfortunately for Pete Newman, he was already on the slide here, Zach. I think that's the tough thing for John Sylvester, wasn't it?
Yeah, so obviously Newman was trying to get the up and under. In doing so, just chuck the car to the right hand side. He needed to get underneath Jamie Ayres there, and it really did unsettle the rear end because at that point he's off the throttle, which means the weight is all wishy-washy. When you're braking, it's on the front. When you're accelerating, it's on the rear. When you're lifting off, it's just kind of doing its own thing. So to chuck it really destabilizes the rear end and unfortunately sent it around. Sylvester was the unfortunate bystander in that skirmish, and Jamie Ayres, I think, got away quite lucky with that one to retain third place. And uncharacteristic uncharacteristic mistake from Pete Newman, and unfortunately it's collected John Sylvester in the carnage as well. But that doesn't take anything away from this fight. We've got Hunt down to Bramer, separated nose to tail for the lead through Oggies, and well, what have we got? Just approaching 5.5 minutes complete, 9.5 minutes left to go, and I'm sure action for every second between now and then.
Yeah, there definitely is. There's obviously Miles Owens as well with Sylvester, Kellerman and Cullinan. Newman is all the way down in 13th at the moment. That's Jason Haddington in front of us. Dan Hunt and Tom Griffiths. Now Griffiths is going down that long Bentley straight. He's going to look up the inside here over Daniel Hunt going into Brundle. He has sent it out the inside. Is he going to break early, try and get that switch back? Hunt's run wide. He's on the gravel. He's trying to come back on now. They're going to be too wide. Round we go. Jamie Ayres is trying to push Tom Griffiths through the bum hole and then off down through Coram here as well on that run down into Murray's. But it is now Griffiths, Ayres and Hunt. Ayres there, Zach, made use of the fact that Hunt run wide, didn't he? He slipped it up the inside and he went through and followed Tom Griffiths into turn 11.
It's always the best thing to do, because the moment that a driver in front makes a mistake, that's what you have to capitalize on, particularly maybe at a circuit where overtaking opportunities are few and far between. Maybe like a track at Snetterton, a driver in front of you makes a mistake, make the most of it. If a driver in front of you goes for an overtake, make the most of it. Wherever you can get an advantage, use it. These guys are racing drivers. They, of course, know that. And now I think Daniel Hunt is in a bit of a predicament here, because like with karting races, which are very similar in style to these MX5s, nose to tail all the way through the race, one mistake, one overtake, as though, that's sideways from Charles Kellerman into the barrier off the exit of turn 2. He's got out of shape, and I was just about to touch on the fact that Daniel Hunt might be lost out of his rhythm and momentum. Charles Kellerman definitely is.
Yeah, he definitely is now. He definitely is now, but Ralph Cullinan there is under attack from Sylvester and Owens behind him. But this is this battle up front here. Did either of them men make it through? Sylvester's in front of Cullinan now, so Sylvester did get through, but we've also got Miles Owens there as well. But this battle up front is now looming once more. We're going on to that Bentley straight. Ayres and Hunt side by side. Hunt slips back in now. He's going to have that double draft here from the cars in front. We've seen him go from third to first already here this evening. Is Dan Hunt going to be able to go do it again? They're almost bump drafting each other down this Williams straight here. PVG pulls out. He's going to have a go as well. Jamie Ayres pulls out now as well. There's nowhere for Hunt to go. He's got to try and look up the inside of Griffiths. He does look up the inside. He can't make the same mistake again here as well. So Griffiths opens up the steering. Hunt's going to run wide around the outside and try and go too wide here as well. But Griffiths is going to hang on to that inside line there, Zach. And that is some very close, respectful racing from them, because they're doing an absolutely stellar job in a very tight area of the track.
They are. It's really good to see. The respect given is second to none, and it's only really that you'll see it here for the UkSimracers. That's sideways. That's Daniel Hunt off the exit of Murray's into the very, very large grass runoff area. An uncharacteristic spin once again. I have to say, I'm so surprised at the spins that we're seeing here, James, because these MX5s, you don't often lose them under power, but I think the way that you have to drive these MX5s at Silverstone, the sort of just chuck it in, use the quick change of direction to rotate the car, it's destabilizing the rear end quite a lot. And if you add a bit of power to that, you are a goner. Daniel Hunt has made a very similar mistake that Pete Newman did, and well, it's ended his charge for the race lead, and I think that sums up his season altogether.
Yeah, it definitely does. He's off the side of the circuit at the last corner here at Snetterton. Unfortunately for Dan Hunt, he just spun up and away he went. Exit left as rapid as anything. Charles Kellerman is got Pete Newman about a second back from him at the moment. There is the optical green car from Newman as they're on this run down into Agostini here. So let's see if Newman can make back any more places than he has already. He's made up a couple. We got past Jason Haddington. Obviously it was helped by Dan Hunt's own spin there as well. So he's moved up 2. He's going to have a go at Charles Kellerman here round the left-hander of Hamilton. It's going to be how far can Newman get? But I've got a funny feeling once he clears past Kellerman, this is kind of as far as he's going to be able to go. However, Cullinan is in the barrier. So as I'm saying that, he's made up another place side by side with Haddington and Hunt as well. Cullinan nearly took somebody out there as well. Let's see what he got up to here, Zach. And it's looking, contact.
Oh, he was invited round. Who was that? No, who's that behind him? Is that Haddington?
986 Miles Owens.
Oh, naughty. Right. That... Yeah, no, I can't forgive Owens for that. I'm sorry. It was a mistake. Obviously, no malice involved. It was just a stupid mistake to make, unfortunately, and has sent Cullinan out of this race. It was last week in Suzuka that Kellerman and Cullinan were both involved in an incident. However, that is a mistake from Jamie Ayres, and losing momentum onto a pit straight here is probably the worst thing you can do. I don't think Griffiths is close enough to really mount a charge for the lead, however. Jamie Ayres has to be careful, though. He's the championship leader. He's the race leader going into the final 4 minutes, but mistakes like that will cost him.
Yeah, Griffiths doing an absolutely stellar job. Just set the fastest lap of the race on a 2:06.19. We're going to have 2 more laps, this one and one more, I believe, before the end of this race. I think they're going to do about 8 laps here this evening, being that it's on a 2:06.75 lap. So, you know, quick maths works out that they're going to do 2 more. They're going to do 8 laps in each race here. Each race 15 minutes long. Don't forget top 9 reverse for race 2. And currently the pole man for race 2 is Mr. Pete Newman.
It is. I think that, well, I mean, yeah, I can see him doing quite well. Obviously, it is just dependent on whether or not he makes that same mistake again. So we'll wait and see, of course, going forward into race 2. But if there is a driver that is going to be perfectly poised to win that race 2, it will be Pete Newman. And I feel bad for Daniel Hunt because he's just on the edge of that reverse grid position, 1.5 seconds off the back of Pete Newman. So he would want to get involved because it's either 1st or 10th for Daniel Hunt going into race 2. So he's got to be careful. He's got to maybe close the gap as best he can and hope maybe Charles Kellerman slows down Pete Newman. Slowing each other down, though. Tom Griffiths versus Jamie Ayres. Inside line for Griffiths. He overtakes the championship leader and up into the lead of the race.
Yeah, he does. Currently at the moment, Ayres has now got PVG. It's a Momo 1, 2, 3 lockout of the podium for Momo. That's not going to be doing Bramer, Sylvester and Owens any good in the team championships here for SOB. Let's not forget they are fighting it out in the team championships with Steve Hefford tucked up right behind him. Sylvester Bramer is there, but he's there. He's not where he needs to be. So he's going to have to close in now as we're going to come over and take the final lap of the race here. We should see Barney waving. If he hasn't waving, he's taking a night off. Well, he's taking a night off. So Barney's had enough for tonight, Zach. He's gone already.
Yeah, I think his right arm's gone a bit tired.
Well, he does wave it quite a lot, to be fair, doesn't he?
He does. He does the opening lap. He does the final lap and the checkered flag, and he does a lot. He does all the official races, any races that are going on. Barney's a really impressive man because he can be in all over the world, all at one time. He can be in Snetterton, Jerez, Interlagos, Phillip Island. He can be all over the place, all in one place, and at the same time his right arm is doing a lot of work at all of those places, so he really is a man of the world, to be fair to him.
He reminds me of a wizard. He can he can just teleport to anywhere at any specific point, wave the flags, teleport back when this race is on the white flag. Well, obviously he hasn't made it in time for this one. He's obviously he didn't teleport right for this one, but he's all over the place, isn't he? He's either...
Maybe Harry Potter didn't really...
Maybe.
Managed to get a job, so he's just gotten into iRacing.
Or his parents just had multiple Barneys.
His parents had multiple Barneys.
Yeah, right. I don't know. Maybe they had a full kitty litter.
Barney 1, Barney 2.
Yeah, Barney 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know if I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? But we are going now.
Right. We were doing well. We were actually serious for most of this race.
I know, we did really well between us there as well. Let's get back anyway on the final lap now, and Griffiths is out in front, coming round Nelson here. We haven't had really much to talk about with the AMs. It's Haddington, Wright and Littler, your 1, 2, 3. But I think Griffiths is going to take this race unless Ayres can do something going through the bomb hole and then into Murray's. Is Ayres going to be able to go up the inside? Is he going to go all or nothing? Is he just going to send it? Is he going to try it? He's not going to send it. He's not going to try it, but is he going to get the run down over the grid, over the start-finish line? Here as well with these guys once more going down to the line. Is it going to be Griffiths? Is it going to be Ayres? It's going to be Griffiths with Ayres and Van Gaal. So a stellar job from these guys for race 1.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with the standard of racing that we had. Really good battles up and down the field, and that's one way to celebrate from PVG. But yeah, so impressed by the standard of racing. Can we keep it up for race 2, 3, and 4? Let's bring it on. Jason Haddington will win the AMS, of course. Really good result for him, it must be said. Darrell Wright trying to make the most of Arnaud Chagninier's absence still, and does so with second place in the AMS, 12th place overall, of course. Big divide between the pros and the AMS, though, here at Snetterton, James. I have to be honest, I wasn't expecting it, because usually, at the very least, the AMS can mix it up quite nicely.
Yeah, they can, but the likes of Haddington, Wright, Littler, Toon and Lewis, unfortunately, Lewis did have a little bit of an issue here and entered into the pit lane after doing this, basically, which involved that. So, unfortunately for Dan Lewis, he did go off track, but here are the results from race 1 here. And it is Tom Griffiths out in front, Jamie Ayres in second, PVG in third, Steve Hefford fourth, E1 Bramer fifth, and John Sylvester sixth with Miles Owens. So we've got a Momo, Privateer, SOB after that. Charles Kellerman eighth, Dan Hunt ninth, Pete Newman 10th in the end, Jason Hannington 11th, Darrell Wright 12th, Ralph Cullinan 13th, Littler, Toon and Lewis here round out the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th and 16th places. Okay, Zach, top 9 reverse. Who are you going for in race 2?
Oh, good question. You know what? I am going to go with Pete Newman. I think Pete Newman's a safe bet, and he's obviously starting on pole position. So yeah, no, I'm going to go with good old Pete Newman. I think again, unless he makes a mistake, but hopefully he won't. But we'll see. I've also started this evening off quite well, by the way. Just Tom Griffiths took the win, and Pete Newman was in. Oh, he was in 10th in the end. He didn't actually get the reverse grid pole, so instead I'm going for Daniel Hunt.
No, you can't do that now.
No, I can, because I hadn't actually had the full picture of the
down.
results. No, that's unfortunate. I hope you got pencil, because.
No, I haven't. I'm in pen. Change your...
Put a line through it. A nice, neat line through it. You get a ruler, you line it up.
Just change your mind as you're going along. You know what I mean?
I do, actually. I might go for someone different.
Well, are you sticking that one? You can't have the same person.
I'm going with Dan Hunt. Hunt.
Okay, Ties, you can't pick the same person twice. That's the rules. You can't pick the same person twice. So that's the rules of the game. You've got to pick 4 different people for 4 different races. So, yeah, you can't pick the same person twice. So you can't have Van Gogh again. I'm sorry, Ties. You've had him once already. So... Oh, I don't know.
Thought process.
I know. I'm just trying to think here. I'm going to go with Jamie Ayres. I think it's going to be Ayres. So that's my philosophy. I'm not quite sure if there was any philosophy in that thought process tomorrow, to be honest with you, apart from giving myself an headache because I was thinking so much. But that's who I'm going with, Jamie Ayres. Okay.
Cool. So we've got Dan Hunt and Jamie Ayres. Cool.
We have. You happened to pick the pole man, which was a little bit rude.
I did. But it's also the pole man that made a really big mistake of his own volition in race 1. So it is, in a sense, a bit of a risk.
Oh, Steve Hefford's in there as well, though, isn't he? But he's not looking really on it tonight. I'm going to stay with Ayres. Ties, you got
you haven't written it down?
I have written it down. I've written Jamie Ayres and Dan Hunt. I did write initially when you picked Newman and I picked Hunt. But then I had to put lines for him because you decided to change your mind because you can't remember where the results were.
Yeah, that's true. I just had to scroll back on the YouTube stream just to double check. So yeah.
Unfortunately, there as well. Right, we are in the warm-up. Ties, you're going to have to change your guess. Can't have PVG twice. That's the rules. So, there we go. But, right. Let's see how this one pans out here as well. We will be taking a brief break between race 2 and race 3, guys. We will have a lovely BRB screen with some music playing for you due to us having to change sessions after race 3. So we will do that for you as well. Momo is on it again. I know, E1 Bramer. Sort it out, young man. Come on. What's going on with your SOB, boys? Give John Sylvester and Miles Owens a bit of a kick. can't do it all on your own, mate. You know, your back's not that big. You're not a donkey. Can't carry everything. Only joking, Miles Owens. Love you, really. And John Sylvester, of course. Right. So, predictions are Hunt and Ayres. Okay? Yes, James.
Yes, James. Absolutely, James.
Thank you very much. No.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Unfortunately for Pete Newman, he didn't do so well.
And he lost the reverse grid pole at the end as well, which is kind of upsetting for him.
Yeah, definitely. But I think Jamie Ayres is going to do it. I know. I keep telling him. Good boy, Iwan Bramer. Good boy.
We'll fire them then. Just turn it into the B racing team.
Yeah.
Get rid of the S and the O.
Ooh.
Just have B racing.
Oh, you're really
Racing
going
for
out.
impact.
You're going out to upset Sylvester and Owens here, aren't you? You know what I mean? You're doing a good job about it.
Yeah, Sylvester's a lovely lad, so it's all right.
Right, here is the grid for race 2. It is Dan Hunt and Charles Kellerman, Miles Owens, John Sylvester, Ewan Bramer, Steve Hefford, PVG, Jamie Ayres, Tom Griffiths and Pete Newman, all of the pros. Then we got Haddington and Wright in 11th and 12th. Ralph Cullen, the only one outside of the top 10 for the pros, with Andy Littler, Sir Alan Toon and Dan Lewis there as well, rounding out this grid here as we're going to get underway once more with Dan Hunt. He's on pole position. He is Zach Sweeney's pick, of course. You know, cheated, picked the man at the top. You know, no.
I don't know if that's cheating.
Oh, I don't know. You took my pick away. Oi.
Oh, did I?
Cheeky.
Oh, did I?
Right,
Yeah,
here we go. Underway now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we are green, green, green. Dan Hunt, Charles Kellerman make the break. Dan Hunt definitely did there as well with Charles Kellerman sitting in second. Nobody has overtaken anyone at this moment on this rundown into Riches. It is Hunt, Kellerman, Owen, Sylvester, Bramer, Hefford. And then we got Ayres has got a front of Van Gaal, but Van Gaal's going to try that switch back further back. And I think he's going to have it on that run down into Montreal, turn 2. PVG slips up the inside. They're running side by side at the moment. Hunt, Kellerman, Owen, Sylvester and Bramer. Great start from them 4.
Indeed so, getting away just nice and cleanly. There's the move maybe from Miles Owens to the inside of Palmer at turn 3, side by side as well. I think that's Jamie Ayres and Pete Newman, Pete Van Gaal, sorry, I should say, continuing their battle a little bit further down. That fight continues though, because here comes the SOB boys. Owens and Sylvester trying to 2-1 Kellerman into Agostini. Nice little move there from Owens. Incredible racecraft shown from Sylvester, and a poor corner, it must be said, for Kellerman, losing 2 places for the price of 1 corner.
Yeah, unfortunately, Charles Kellerman lost Miles Owens Sylvester, but they had to do that early on, not to allow this man out in front to get past. Jamie Ayres is back behind PVG once more. Newman's behind Griffiths as well, so this is going to be an interesting top 10 here, Zach, with all of these fast drivers in the mix, but not for Dan Hunt. He's out in front at the moment, doing an absolutely stellar job. He's got a 1.2 second gap now, as Owens loses that place till Sylvester. Kellerman's not giving up either. Neither is Bramer, neither is Hefford. And they're on this run down into Brundle, the left-hander, and then they're going to sharp on the brakes. Through Nelson they go as well. Over the curb there for Miles Owens, and once more he's battling here, but all the while he's doing this, Daniel Hunt's opening up 1.3 seconds.
He is. He's done a really, really good job in the opening stage of this race. A very important gap to open, because obviously Sylvester, Kellerman, Owens, Bramer, Hefford, etc. behind are not slow drivers at all. He wants to make the most of while they're still battling, trying to still decide who should lead the second pack behind Hunt. And this is meanwhile while Hunt is running away with things. Race 1 and winner Jason Haddington is off in the background as well, off the exit of Murray's, which is unfortunate for him. Of course, he falls back to P13. But if Hunt can use this time to get away quite nicely, it could benefit him. However, Sylvester's put in a really good lap time and closed the gap back under a second. And Steve Hefford. Oh.
No.
Oh, that could be huge. There's more. 3 off.
And PVG and Cullinan, I think, as well. Cullinan made it through, but Ayres, PVG and Owens. He's going to have a lot to answer to, I think.
So it was Hefford on the inside, wasn't it? Yeah. I don't know. So Owens obviously pinched Hefford on the inside.
Did he really pinch him?
Let's have a look though. That's too. No, so
he didn't pinch him.
No, he didn't. It's nice to take a second look. Obviously, a nice pirouette to be fair to Owens. It just was. To be fair, at that point he wasn't in control of his car. Owens is not at fault for this incident whatsoever. Richards is one of those corners, especially in low downforce cars like MX5s. You turn once, that is it. You cannot turn back out of the corner and still have stability. If Miles Owens was to then sharply think, oh, Hefford, need to give him room, turned left, he was in the wall. No doubt about it, right? It's one of those corners where you have to just turn once and hope. 3 wide in the background as well, as Pete Newman worked his way up to 5th, side by side with Tom Griffiths as well, as it must be said. 2 wide, 2 deep in the background. An unfortunate incident, it must be said. It could have been avoided, and Hefford was just way too late on the brakes.
Oh, yeah, he sent it from a mile away there. I'm wondering, oh, Newman got another slide on. And did now lose more time to Griffiths. Griffiths is going to try the up and under here as well as they go through Coram. He's going to be side by side round Murray's. Into Murray's they're going to be going now. Pete Newman did lose that place to Tom Griffiths, and Griffiths managed to take away 4th place away from Pete Newman, and it is Ewan Bramer behind that as well. Yeah, I've got to really say that unfortunately for Miles Owens there, he just... Well, he was just a passenger, to be honest. You know what I mean? Hefford sent it in way too sharp. Newman's trying to come back here as well. Griffiths is on the right-hand side. Newman in that 118 Pure Sims goes through on the inside on that run down into turn 1. He's going to have to try and come around the outside, to the left-hand side now as well, I would have thought, to block the door off there. He does do in the end. Griffiths takes the nose off Ewan Bramer. PBG.
Oh, no! Tom Griffiths sent round. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. This has been a shambles of a race too, in all fairness, for these guys towards the front end. Meanwhile, Sylvester and Hunt are going at it, 1/4 of a second between the two of them. Sylvester now ahead of the reigning champion. They've broken away 3.5 seconds back to Charles Kellerman. I'll be honest, I don't see that gap being closed, but if they continue to fight, it might well come down. I think it just depends on how eager Daniel Hunt is to get that lead back.
Yeah, we'll have a look back at the Tom Griffiths incident very, very shortly as we just let this play out with Dan Hunt and Sylvester. They're on that run out of Palmer's, out of Oggie's, sorry, and up into Williams. And then we've got that long straight down the Bentley straight here as well. Dan Hunt is going to tuck in behind Sylvester. He's going to follow him across track. If Sylvester goes and starts trying to break the draft, is Hunt going to get closer? The time's coming down, 2 temps, down to 1.5 temps now. He's going to look at ducking up the inside. He's made that move. Under the bridge he goes. Dan Hunt's looking at the inside. Sylvester takes his nose off. Hard onto the brakes, and around Nelson they go as well. Hunt had the opportunity. He thought about trying to make the manoeuvre. He didn't quite get alongside, so he backed out and did the sensible thing.
Clever driving. There's no point risking it. You know, you've still got over half the race left to go. You've got a 5-second gap back to those behind, and he knows he's quick. It wasn't a do-or-die move where he has to do that or he risks losing the race. He's got time. He's got plenty of opportunities. There was no need going for a 20% chance of making it move. Back out, bide your time, and wait for a better one. Let's take another look as to how things happened to Tom Griffiths. This is down into Montreal, and then to the inside from the SOB car, and then... It bunched up. It was just an awkward stop, start. Do I go for it sort of thing?
It was
I
hard
don't know.
because Newman locked up as well, didn't he, in front of them, and he kind of just set off a whole sort of accordion
Chain
effect.
reaction.
And yeah, basically he was just blocked up, and then everybody hit the brakes, and unfortunately for Ewan Bramer, didn't quite push the pedal hard enough and to stop them going into Tom Griffiths. But Griffiths has gone round. Sylvester's still battling up the front with Hunt here. Can these guys keep hold of these positions? Newman's in 3rd. He's 4.6 seconds back. What about Ayres? Ayres is having a go at Steve Hefford here. He's going to have the inside line going into Agostini, and he's going to go through now. So that's Ayres up into 5th place currently at the moment. But he hasn't dropped Steve Hefford yet as well. But Hefford, yeah. That was a risky move at the beginning of Owens.
Yeah, I think so. And now the fight continues. Great job from Dan Hunt, by the way, to get himself ahead of John Sylvester back into the race lead. But the fight continues. The second half of race 2 is well and truly underway through Williams, and it's all about the exit here. Put your foot down and pray that you've got enough. And I think for Steve Hefford, he might well have one of the longest straights, if not the longest straight in the UK, the Bentley straight, on that chicane in towards Brundle and Nelson. No movements from Steve Pfefford. He's quite happy just to sit behind Jamie Ayres for this point in time, which I think is a good thing because Pete Newman and PVG are all fighting away for third place. Only 1.5 seconds between the two of them. If Ayres and Hefford can work together nicely, they could be within a shout for the podium. And it also would mean that Newman has got Van Gool and Ayres, who are both for Momo, and Hefford, who was Momo. And that spells trouble.
Yeah, it definitely does. Yeah. It does. Newman's going to have to try and get by this here with one SOB, one Pure Sims, one DOF. Then we got the Momo, Van Gool, Ayres, previously Hefford as well, and Griffiths is trying to get onto the back of Culligan at the moment. In the AM Championship, it is Hannington, Wright and Toon this time around, so great job from Alan Toon here currently at the moment. And Darryl Wright is having a go. He's running side by side with Hannington now. Wright's on the left, Hannington in that orange Air Smart down into turn one. Darryl Wright makes it through and does an absolutely incredible job for him. Goes up into the lead. Newman and Ayres, well, what do we've got 5.5 minutes to go. We've got two groups here. We've got Hunt, Sylvester, Van Gool, Newman, and Ayres and Hefford. Is it gonna? Do we think that Sylvester can get Hunt? Let's start with the first group. Do we think Sylvester can get Hunt?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Both. This group can be settled very easily. Hunt makes a mistake. Sylvester's through. Sylvester grows the pair and sends a move. I don't know what it is. Either this can definitely be settled. It's not over at all. So yeah, Sylvester can find a way through, but Hunt can equally defend.
Yeah, PVG's got Newman. Newman or PVG
Can also change.
Yeah,
it can change. This could become a 5-car train easily. 100%. I almost see it happening in the next 5 minutes.
Okay, brave words from Mr. Sweeney there as Hunt goes back up front. Round Nelson he goes. He's still got Sylvester tucked up. 3 attempts currently at the moment. Running off round turn 11. That right-hander, of course. And then they're going to be going down into Coram of turn 12. Sweeping round here. This is what I mean. You're constantly turning right. It's just one big long right-hander here before they go left into Murray's. And Hunt does manage to hold on, and Sylvester 4 attempts back currently as well. He's got to be looking at closing the gap as best he can here as Sylvester. He's got to try and get onto the back of Dan Hunt. He's got to use the draft as much as possible. Pull himself in here. That's what he's got to do. What about Van Gool and Newman? Van Gool is trying to go round up the inside of Newman currently in the moment as well. On the inside he goes into turn 1. PVG is through. What about Newman? He's sailed in. Oh!
The Battle of the Petes has ended in catastrophe. Pete Newman and PVG sent off at Ritchie's. Wow, what an anticlimactic end to that. Obviously I've got the broadcast up and it's slightly delayed, so we get to have a look at it firsthand anyway. Wow, I mean, I have to say that was huge. I mean, PVG's on the inside going into Ritchie's. He has got an overlap. There's no two ways about it. He's alongside going in. And then for just whatever reason, maybe just overcorrects. And then Pete Newman tries to get the up and under. And it just doesn't work. That's 2 times Newman's gone for a switchback. And that's 2 times it's either ended with him in the wall or him and someone else in the wall.
Yeah. And it was him and PVG. I think PVG has still managed to hold on and keep going here. But he is now lost places to Ayres, Hefford and Bramer. Ayres is 7 seconds back at the moment. Griffiths is right behind Cullinan here as well. And Sylvester is now starting to close on Daniel Hunt down his Bentley straight again. 2.5 minutes to go. I really can't see past Hunt at the moment. I think he's doing an absolutely stellar job, but we know he's mistake prone, so it's kind of not over for Sylvester until they go over the line, is it really?
It isn't. So he's got to press on. He just has to hammer in the lap times. Lap in. Of course, I think they are now coming on to the final lap of the race.
It's going to be close.
It's going to be close, isn't it? I mean, they're doing what? 2:06. There's 2:15. I think they might be able to squeeze in one more lap. Is Barney there? If he isn't, then I think we're going again. Is he up there? No. So I think we've got 2 more laps. 2 more to go. So Sylvester needs to make the most of this lap. He needs to get in front and then defend like crazy, white line it, all aboard the Sylvester Express, whatever it is. He needs to get in front this lap, defend the last lap, and the win's his. Easy as that, right?
Oh, done.
No sweat.
I could do
Dan,
that.
it's only Dan Hunt.
Yeah, I could do that in my sleep. Not an issue. No problem at all. You know, the man with a 2.7 KIR against the man with a 4.5 KIR, and then I can come along with my little 1.3 or whatever it is and take them both. Easy. Not a problem at all. But for Sylvester, he's got to try and use that Bentley straight, hasn't he? I think that's going to be his best opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he had a look into Agostini there, but Hunt had it covered quite nicely. Through Hamilton into Oggy's, not really much that you can do unless you're Superman. And I don't think Sylvester is, unfortunately. As much as he might like to believe he is, I don't think he is. Through Oggy's, and you can see two different lines there. Hunt taking a nice turn in early line, and Sylvester carrying the speed. They both hit a nice apex, but the corner speed, Hunt narrows the line, Sylvester carries the speed, and it might well help him on this run through the Bentley straight. Off the exit of Williams, put your foot down, use the slipstream, and go for a move. Sylvester knows this might be his last opportunity of the race. Pulls out to the left-hand side. It gives him the inside for the chicane. How hard is Hunt going to fight this one? He's brave on the brakes, not quite brave enough going into Nelson. Decides to tuck back in and take the racing line. Sylvester now has got a very interesting job ahead of him.
Yeah, he has. He's got to now try and hold it. That's the problem here. This is going to be very, very close. If this isn't the final lap here, I'm not going to lie. They've got about 15 seconds to get from here to down over the line. It's going to be very, very close. And whether or not this will be the final lap or we're going to have one more. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, I think they have.
Did they do it?
Yeah, they've just done it. So this is the final lap now. So from Sylvester's point of view, he's got to hang on here and try, and he's not doing it at the moment. Dan Hunt flicks the elbow out there and gives Sylvester the elbow. Sylvester comes up the inside of turn 2 as well, retakes that lead, but Dan Hunt, aggressive elbows out racing for him.
Around the outside of Richards as well. You don't really see that too often. Now he's got the inside for Palmer. These two are going to fight it out. The race leader, race 2, comes down to the final lap. Outside line of John Sylvester. He carries the speed through Palmer. Now it's the run towards Agostini. Dan Hunt has got the inside line. That's usually the one that is favourable. Outside line, though, for the SOB machine. That's the black and white of John Sylvester. Goes the long way round. Dan Hunt hangs on.
Yeah, but he's taken the lead halfway through the lap here when they've got a long old Bentley straight to deal with as well. Round Hamilton they go, down into Oggy's here for the final time. If Sylvester can stay within 2.5 temps round these next couple of corners, round Oggy's and into Williams, he's going to get this run again here. 2.0.272625. He's going to have a go here, Zach, and Dan Hunt could be under attack here as well. He's got 3 temps at the moment. It's coming down ever so slowly here as well. He's got to get in. Hefford's in the back. He's off the track. I've got a funny feeling here for Dan Hunt. This is going to be it. I think he's going to hold on here to this. Yeah, I think he is. I don't think Sylvester got that run out of Williams that we thought he might have got.
Absolutely not. He wasn't close enough. Nowhere near close enough. It's long, but it's not that long. Now he's got to keep it clean through the bomb hole, then into Coram. Dan Hunt knows what he's doing through this final sector. All he has to do is keep it nice and clean. No mistakes. Sylvester's going to fight it all the way. Maybe a last lap lunge in towards Murray's. Who knows? Maybe he's going to go for it. I think he's a bit too far back late on the brakes. Dan Hunt has it covered. He's going to take the flag.
Yeah, he is. Dan Hunt is going to come over here and take that victory with John Sylvester. What about Steve Hefford and also Ewan Bramer? Hefford, of course, took that very wide line out. Jamie is going to come over the line in 3rd. Ewan Bramer behind that with Steve Hefford as these guys come over. Tom Griffiths in 6th place with PVG in 7th. And then we're going to wait for the likes of Ralph Cullinan, the Irishman, comes over the line there as well. And then behind that, we've got the AM victor, which is Jason Hannington in the end. Jason Hannington wins the AMs there with Miles Owens and Darrell Wright. And then we're looking for Sir Alan Toon and also Andy Littler there as well. Well, I had Jamie Ayres, you had Dan Hunt. So you took the win and I was in 3rd place.
2 wins in 2. Boom.
Boom. All right, Sonny Jim.
Snetterton.
Well, I thought I'd better let you win as it is your home circuit. You know what I mean?
Are we? Yeah, I know. It's a shame there's only 4 races. I was going to make a 6-finger joke, but I couldn't because I was going to say maybe I get more wins than I do fingers, but it doesn't work. I'll find a way because we're in Snetterton, we're in Norfolk. But race 2, what a race it was.
Yeah, Dan Hunt is your winner here in first place. John Sylvester in second. Jamie Ayres third, Ewan Bramer fourth, Steve Hebbard fifth, Tom Griffiths sixth, Pete Van Gaal seventh, Ralph Cullinan eighth, and Jason Hannington in ninth, who takes the AM victory with Miles Owens, Darrell Wright and Alan Toon, your second and third in the AMs, Andy Littler, Pete Newman, Charles Kellerman and Dan Lewis rounding out the top 16. Right guys, we're off to take a short break as we change over sessions, and we will see you very, very shortly here, so stay tuned for this one, as we'll be right back after this short break. Okay, we are back here with race 3 and race 4 from the UK SimRacers here on Tuesday evening. I'm still James Parfitt, and the man alongside me is still Zach Sweeney to finish off these 2 races now as well. Race 4, we have had a confirmation, will be a top 18, so a full reverse grid for race 4, which is going to make it very, very exciting. We come down to that time of the evening again. Zach, where it's a blind pick for me and you. Race 3, who do you think's going to win?
Oh, wow. Okay. So I've gone for Griffiths, I've gone for Hunt. I'm going to go with John Sylvester for race 3.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully he starts quite high up. And we'll see. If he's sort of in the top 8, I reckon he'll win.
Okay, well, I've had Newman and I've had Ez. Dan Hunt's on it, though, tonight. Yeah, I'm going to go with Dan Hunt, I think. Dan Hunt for race 3. Let's see how it goes. Zacko, says heel and toe. I'm guessing that might be somebody you know, Zach.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Maybe it's my nickname. Maybe. My name's now Zacko. Or is it Zaku? Zaku.
I don't know. I'm not sure, to be honest. But there we go. Right, 208.667 from Kellerman in practice. We are waiting for these guys to advance the session here before we get underway for race 3. I'm sure that advance will come very, very shortly. Thank you so much for sticking with us here as well. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on the bells. What's the best package to start with iRacing? Is there something like that? Well, normally you look for the Black Friday deals, but that isn't till November, I think it is. So if there's any deals going on at the moment, have a look for them for your membership package. They have just advanced it as well. So it is going to be, let's have a look at the grid for race 3. Cullinan, Sylvester, Lewis, Hannington, Ayres, Littler, Kellerman, Van Gaal, Bramer and Hunt. Then we've got Steve Hefford, Miles Owens, Darrell Wright, Sir Alan Toon and Tom Griffiths. So there we go. We are up and running already here as well for this 3rd race of the evening. Lights are out. Oh, there's a jump start from Sylvester. A jump start from John Sylvester there. Sylvester out in front, but he jumped the start by an absolute mile, as did Jason Hannington. So them two are both going to be in for a stop and go here as well. Dan Hunt has already lost a place to Miles Owens. He's going to try and run around the outside of turn 1 currently at the moment there. But unfortunately, Dan Lewis exit road right there. And he's still into the long grass. Is he going to come back on track? He is. Alan Toon hits the brakes to make sure he doesn't get caught up, but Dan Lewis does go off. Hunt's round. Oh no. I am not having a good one here as well. Sylvester and Hannington got to go in for their stop and hold. There's that. They did jump the start by a mile.
They did. Yeah. We're not in for a good day, are we? Let's put it that way. This is side by side for 2nd place. Ralph Cullinan look to the inside of Haddington, and he's gone round. He's lighted up the rears. Oh, don't do that. He's reversed back into the track, and he's collected multiple cars with him. He stops on the road, waits. Is he going to back out? Yes, he does. He retires from race 3 already. A chaotic start in the opening moments of this race, and, well, a lot of unhappy faces, James.
Yeah, Owens just got into the back of Hunt there. He waits for Hunt to retake it. Hunt comes back on track and unfortunately makes contact with Sir Alan Toon. Alan Toon then drives and makes contact with Dan Hunt there as well. And Steve Hefford has also had a moment here as well. Jason Hannington had a big one in front of him. He spun it up there. Hannington goes round, somersaults the car, rolls it back. Hefford just straight into the front. PVG in the wall, loses a bumper there as well. So a lot going on for race 3 as Tom Griffiths is now battling away with Hefford here. And it isn't good for me and you currently at the moment because we're expecting Sylvester's got to go into the pits, right? He jumped the start by an absolute mile.
He did. And I think right now he's just trying to build up as much of a gap as he can before serving that drive-through to see where he comes out relative to the rest of the pack. I think he gets 2 or 3 laps to serve it if he's been given that drive-through. So,
if He's got to have been, hasn't he?
Is anything flagging up that he's been given a drive-through?
No, Dan Hunt's out.
Any black flags?
I've got a DNF. No, unfortunately, we don't see penalties. But yeah, Dan Hunt's out. Gutted.
Wow.
Where's John Sylvester? Out in front, but he must have a drive-through. He jumped that
He'll
start
come out
by an absolute mile. PVG's gone into the pits. Dan Lewis has gone into the pits. Haddington's in the pits. And Ewan Bramer's into the pits as well. So not a good job from any of them guys. And unfortunately for them boys, they are sitting in the pit lane. Of course, no fast repairs either.
No, they've got to deal with it. The good thing about John Sylvester, though, is that, yes, he's got to come into the pit lane, but he's going to come back out of it. So he can still score some good points, unlike Daniel Hunt, who was well and truly out of this race. So at least there's that. Tom Griffiths is also trying to move his way up the field. He's on the inside of Charles Kellerman. This is going into Hamilton. That's brave. Steve Hefford might now be on the scene. He keeps his foot in onto the grass now under brakes. Nearly having a look. Tom Griffiths mounting the attack on Kellerman. Gets the inside line. The optical green car goes wide. And Hefford through as well.
Yeah, Hefford is now up into 5th. Griffiths up into 4th. Kellerman down into 6th. In the AMS, though, it is Darrell Wright behind all of this. He managed to avoid the carnage and has made his way up 6 places into 7th here. Tom Griffiths with Steve Hefford still battling it out there as well. I love Ty's Van Gogh. He just comes and goes, no! Every time PVG goes off. Unfortunately for PVG, he did go off and he's sitting in the pit lane here. So, yeah, it's been an interesting beginning to race 3, I think, could be the terminology here as well, as the Haddington spin collected Hefford and PVG and himself. So for Jason Haddington there, not a good job for him. John Sylvester has gone into the pits. It depends on how long his stop and hold will be here. And he's going to lose the position to Ayres, Cullinan, Griffiths, Hefford, Kellerman, and Wright. Of course, it will put him on the pole position for race 2, as we've got a full reverse grid. He might just come out in front of Sir Alan Toon, but we'll have to see here as well, as Tom Griffiths still battling away with Steve Hefford here.
He is. Good little fight going on. Now, what is for second place, because Cullinan, Griffiths and Hefford are all involved. Let's not forget Jamie Ayres is only 2 seconds up the road as well. There he is. Have Momo changed their liveries for today?
I'm not sure, because I loaded in and Trading Paints loaded up, and that was the liveries that he selected. Of course, for Tom Griffiths, he's still in that old chrome-based livery. So, unfortunately for him, I don't know if he hasn't got the memo or if it's just changed and I don't know. But they're still very chrome-based.
Do you reckon it's the memos they do momos?
Maybe. Who knows? Who knows?
They do.
Who knows for the momos?
No, that doesn't work.
Yes, it does. Of course it works. Cullinan hanging on, the Irishman here hanging on from the Englishman, and the Welshman out in front here as well. So we've got Wales, Ireland and England, and then we've got the Netherlands all the way down in 11th place currently at the moment in the hands of Ewan Bramer, with the other Dutch driver, PVG, in the pits and is sat there as well. But Steve Hefford on that inside line, not Steve Hefford, Tom Griffiths on that inside line of Ralph Cullinan. They go under the bridge. Cullinan does lose that position here as well. He's going to have to go on the brakes into Nelson. They go. Cullinan takes the big old sausage curb. That's going to allow Steve Hefford to have the inside line on that run round the bottom hole into Coram. And round into Murray's, and Hefford does make it through there as well. Ralph Cullinan didn't really put up a fight.
He didn't, as one of the lap cars got out of the way. I think that's Haddington moving wide to let them through. Jamie has managed to find a way through quite nicely, which is good for him to keep his 2.5 second lead. Good move from Steve Hefford, though, it must be said. Great way to just pick his way underneath. That's what Pete Newman was trying to do in race 1, essentially. But now Cullinan is on the back foot. 1.5 seconds between Griffiths and Hefford. Nice little battle, but it is all dependent on whether or not Hefford can get onto the back of Griffiths, or if Griffiths can get back onto the back of Jamie Ayres. I mean, he's quickest, but only by 1/10 of a second. Exactly, a 6.669 for Jamie Ayres, a 6.569 for Griffiths. It's quicker, but it's not quick enough.
Yeah, definitely there as well. We have lost Pete Newman for race 3 and race 4.
We have.
Yeah, he hasn't made it out here. So yeah, Andy Littler has got John Sylvester in front of him. Sylvester did come out of the pits and was in 8th place or 9th place, I believe. He's made up places over Andy Littler. So he's moving on up as well. Ralph Cullen here with Hefford and also Charles Kellerman battling it out for 3rd, 4th and 5th here. So let's see how these guys go and get on once more, as they're on lap 4 with 7 minutes remaining here, as well as these guys fighting off as they go round through Williams and then on to the Bentley straight. But it's somehow spreaded the field out, this race, hasn't it? Race 3 has really kind of opened it up with them incidents.
It has, and I have to say, these incidents were so completely avoidable, and they definitely did not need to happen whatsoever. But it has made this race a little bit more widespread. Definitely not the 8-car trains that we saw in race 1, that's for sure. But we have got a full reverse grid for race 4, so stay tuned for that. Obviously, still things to be decided in race 3, because we've got Hefford, Cullen and Kellerman fighting for the podium. That is not going to get confusing at all, with Cullen and Kellerman fighting for a place. They were both involved in an incident at Suzuka, and we completely lost our marbles. So now we have to get excited about them potentially overtaking each other. The final half of the race, though, is well and truly underway. And also, that gap, Jamie Ayres, Tom Griffiths, I'll be interested to see what these lap times are. 2:07.3, a whole second quicker Tom Griffiths on that last lap.
There he is, pulling times out here of Ayres. 1 second, 2 seconds. He's nearly pulled out 2.1 seconds over Jamie Ayres over the last 3 laps. Can Ayres hang on here? Isn't going to affect me and you. I've got a DNF already with Dan Hunt, and John Sylvester is sitting all the way down in 7th place. So, you know, at the end of the day, neither of us are really going to be affected as what happens up front, apart from my score is not looking too clever this week.
No,
it's
not. I hope it's 106 points low, so I can close the gap. I'll be honest, I don't think I'm actually going to be that far off. I think, so race 1, I went for Griffiths, and you went for Newman, and Newman spun, which was actually a really good result for me. And then in race 2, it was Hunt, and then Ayres was 3rd. So again, decent points gained. And now Sylvester's 7th, Hunt's 15th, which is, again, good points gained for me. I don't think I'll be that far off going forwards, but I'm not here next week. Do I get a drop week? Is that how it counts? Or does Biggles take my place? What is it?
Well, if you know, if Biggles is happy,
we didn't discuss this.
If Biggles is happy picking your drivers for you, and you trust Biggles, then I'll
slot him a $5 if he gets 4 wins. It's fine.
All right.
I'll give him some commission.
Okay, well, do that then. So, yeah, as you are away next week as well. So, you know, no, unfortunately for Phil, he's not going to be able to pick on you like he is this week. So there you go. I would like to point out here as well, it's good advice from Zach regarding the free content in iRacing. It's only when you sort of get out of rookies and you pick which path you want to go, whether it's going to be road, dirt ovals, or WRX, which is obviously the dirt road series as well, that where you have to start buying things. Cars and tracks and all this other fancy jazz as well, and it can become very, very expensive. Zach is right. You know, I don't want to tell you probably how much I probably spent over the last few years, but it's quite a hefty amount of money owning pretty much every car and every track that's in every series that we broadcast. So yeah. It can be expensive, but you will be all right in rookies there as well. One of the things I will say with rookies is it can take a bit of time getting out of it. That can't it, depending on the state of affairs it can be.
I actually got out of rookies fairly quickly. That was purely because I pulled an all-nighter doing it, the MX5s at Lime Rock. So nice. I managed to get out of rookies quite quickly. I managed to get to A license in about 3 weeks, I think, when I first got iRacing. And then once I got sort of 2A license, and then I bought 150 quid's worth of content, GT3s, a few tracks to get me going. Then once they ran out and I didn't have any more content, I was like, hang on a minute. Yeah. This was when commentary for me was at like a little bit lower down, sort of work-wise. So I didn't have the money to just constantly churn out loads, 15 quid, to keep racing. So I did sort of lose some steam in iRacing ever so slightly. So So you can very quickly get loads of money taken. And there's the send from Griffiths. Ayres keeps him honest around the outside. Well, MX5s are definitely one of the free content on iRacing, and these guys are making the absolute most of it. Great racing into the bumhole.
Yeah, they currently are as well. Griffiths is going to get through on Ayres. Ayres takes that wider line out of turn 11 into Coram they go, and Ayres is in second place. Spit of dirt there from Griffiths as he's running around Coram now. Coming into Murray's the left-hander. Griffiths is now out in front. An absolute stellar job from Tom Griffiths. He's up 14 places here, Zach. 14.
Wow. That is insane. That, honestly, a circle like Snetterton and a race like this is insane. And now he gets himself ahead of Jamie Ayres inside line through Ritchie's. Jamie Ayres trying to get the up and under potentially on that run into turn number 2 at Montreal. Defensive once again goes Griffiths just to cover off his bases. There is still space there if Ayres wants to fill it. The Welshman breaks late on the outside. He's going to try and maybe go for a nice late apex switchback. Doesn't quite get it. Griffiths has got it covered. I have to say, Tom Griffiths is mightily quick today.
Yeah, he definitely is. He's run this track in real life in this car. Of course, he didn't have the sequential gearbox. He had a H shifter. So that was interesting to see him changing gears here as well. As they're on the run down into Agostini, Ayres is not giving this one up here. He's not letting Griffiths have it his own way. A little bit of a twitch from Ayres. That loses him about 3 tenths currently at the moment as they're on that run now around the left-hander of Hamilton. He's got to stay with him into Oggies to try and get that 2.5 tenths that he's going to need on that run down the Bentley Straight. Any further out than that for Ayres, and he's not going to be able to make that inroads into Tom Griffiths, and I don't think he's going to get it. He's definitely not going to get it here, Zach. Griffiths had an amazing last couple of corners.
He did, and he's keeping the momentum up really, really nicely. Snetterton is all about that, keeping the revs high, keeping that minimum speed high, making sure that at the very least the driver behind can't get the advantage going into the next corner. And that is the fundamentals of racing, essentially. Tom Griffiths looking very strong. His real life and his virtual experience coming in dividends. There's a bit of a slide, though, that curb unsettling the car ever so slightly. And Ayres is all over the rear end of him once again. And now he might have a good look. Obviously, probably not through Coram or Murray's, but he's definitely a lot closer now.
Yeah, it definitely is. We're going to be coming through into the final lap of the race here. Lap 8. We did say they'd be doing about 8 laps. They are just about... Well, this is going to be exceptionally close. This is the checkered flag. They're not going to make it, I don't think. And Griffiths is going to take the victory. They're not going to make the 8 laps. Tom Griffiths is going to take the victory here with Jamie Ayres and Steve Hefford and Ralph Cullinan coming over the line as well. That was something that we wasn't expecting there, Zach. They didn't make the 8 laps.
It didn't. And I think that is down to the incidents that we had, slowing everyone down. Because let's not forget that in race 3, no, this is race 3, race 2, sorry, it was only 2 seconds across the line was the difference. 2 seconds is, you know, nothing really, and when you think of it as a total race time, because you can have a battle for a lap and lose 2 seconds, and that is it. You won't get an extra lap. So, yeah, that's just it. And I think the incident slowed everyone down. Of course, we have seen some really quick times. A 2:05.598 for Tom Griffiths that race. A quick lap time, but the overall race time wasn't that fantastic. So yeah. It was close. Again, it was very, very close. And I think that's sort of the storyline of tonight. Are you going to get that extra lap? Because now these drivers know they can't bet on getting it.
Yep. We're just waiting for Ewan Bramer as he comes over the line in the SOB car without a bumper on. And Sir Alan Toon will be the final one. So... let's see, as Alan Toon, unfortunately, he's off the grass there at the back. You can see him off the grass, spitting up dust for Alan Toon as well. And he comes over the line, taking 3rd in the AMS, mind you. He's taking the last podium spot, but a long way back currently at the moment. So let's have a look at the results for race 3. And Tom Griffiths is in 1st, Jamie Ayres 2nd, Steve Hefford 3rd, Ralph Cullinan 4th, Charles Kellerman 5th, John Sylvester, Miles Owens, Darryl Wright, Andy Littler, Ewan Bramer, Sir Alan Toon, Jason Haddington, Dan Lewis, PVG and Dan Hunt round out the final parts or the final spots in that table. Okay, race 4, young Zachary, who are we going for?
So a complete reverse grid. Dan Hunt. Absolutely Daniel Hunt. No two ways about it. Does
You
he get
can't.
the reverse grid?
You can't.
Oh no, I've already chosen Daniel Hunt. Oh no. Has PVG been quick? Who else is there? I mean, Griffiths and Ayres are all the way back at the field, but Ayres and Griffiths carved their way through the field in that race. So Ayres or PVG. See, it's two sides of the spectrum. It's either second or second last that I'm going for. I'm going with PVG. PVG. Yeah, I'm not going to doubt myself. PVG.
Okay, PVG for Zach. Let's have a look here. I'm going to have to try it. Do you know what? I'm going to put my neck out and go with Ewan Bramer. I'm going to put my neck out on the line. Let's be real about it. My night can't go any worse as well.
It can't.
No, DNF in race 3,
well.
Ayres in 3rd in race 2, and then Newman, I think it was like 7th or 8th in race 1. So, yeah, PVG and Ewan Bramer here up in the booth. And there we go. I was going to give you a pass this week, but you're picking on James. So, lay
always
off.
pick on James.
Lay off me. Otherwise, I've got my bodyguard's going to come round and deal with you, young sir. I'll tell you.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Are you threatening me? Is that a threat, James? Just so I can write it down and send it to my attorney.
no, because you're a minor as well, and I'm not going to do that.
No, exactly. Get you in a lot of trouble.
Yes, very much so. But I'm sure you would you wouldn't do that anyway.
Are you sure? No.
Really?
No, I wouldn't.
Oh, I was going to say. Rude.
Depends, actually. Yeah,
What does it depend on?
I don't know. Depends how serious it is. Depends if Phil comes and smacks me, because then I'll face cam it and send it off to the police and take the company, and then it'll be ZS
God blimey, this is getting all very dramatic up here in the booth. Stop whining, will you?
It's Hollywood.
I'm going to give you a bleeding dummy in a minute. You spat it out and cried
Drive to
that
survive. JPB Drive to Survive. That's what we've got.
Yeah.
Getting the drama in.
Or in your case, Run to Survive as well. So, welcome along if you're still here. Yeah, I bet you have as well. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Phil, as always, Ty's Van Gogh and Heel and Toe. Thank you so much for hanging out here in the YouTube chat, enjoying some epic action. We've got a brief little warm-up here before we go into the final race of the evening. This final 15 minutes, this full reverse grid here as well. Well, what are we expecting?
The more of the same, in all fairness. I think we've had quite a few extremes today. We've had race 1, literally the pinnacle of racing, essentially, was race 1. Race 2 was a little bit like race 1, but there was a couple of incidents, a couple of things that went wrong. Race 3, obviously crashes and things didn't lend itself too well. There were a couple of incidents, but still good racing. So I think race 4 is going to be a combination of the 3 races that we've had. Full reverse grid really opens the door for some good racing, and Snetterton always impresses. So I think race 4, we're in for a good one. And some crucial times ahead for the championship.
Yeah, well, let's see how we do here as well. 45 seconds left to practice. There are a few cars out on the circuit currently at the moment. Don't forget, we've got the BSC coming up later on, guys, as well. They're coming up from Bristol Motor Speedway. So come and check that out. We're for the Digby Sundance Memorial 200 at Bristol, round 5 of season 9. And that's live in about 3 hours' time. So if you are still awake and fancy some midnight late NASCAR action, come check it out here as well. And then tomorrow night we've got the JPB GT4 Championship from Watkins Glen as well, so you can come and get yourselves and have a look at some great GT4 action here as well. And it's looking like a very Mark Fletcher dominated championship at the moment, but can Arthur Ferdle battle back and take it away? Don't forget, guys, as well, we are looking at starting the JPB TCRs on the 4th of August. 6 rounds at the British circuits within iRacing as well. So if you want to get yourselves involved in that, join the JPB League's Discord. Right, we're in For the grid, Dan Hunt, Pete Van Gogh, Daniel Lewis, Jason Haddington, Alan Toon, Ewan Bramer, Andy Littler, Darrell Wright, Miles Owens, John Sylvester, Charles Kellerman and Ralph Cullinan. Then Steve Hefford, Jamie Ayres and Tom Griffiths right at the back of the field here. I've got a funny feeling Jamie Ayres is not going to make the grid. I've just got this hunch that he's not going to make the grid, and he didn't make the grid. That's going to allow PBG a clean run down into turn 1, but the lights are out. 5 lights. Here we go once more. We're going to be up and running. And PBG does make that start. So does Dan Lewis as well. Lewis got an absolute bar-lined start. He's alongside PBG at the moment as they run down into Riches now. He's going to have that inside line. He didn't quite get up far enough there, and PBG takes the lead here as well. And he's got kind of no one really having a go. Ewan Bramer's trying to make his way through, as Alan Toon is involved in that one with Jason Haddington here currently at the moment. Alan Toon hanging it out. Dan Lewis spun it out.
Oh no, that's huge. That's big. That is, what was that? Oh wow. Half the grid involved in that one. And we've got Dan Hunt all the way at the back. He's lost out big time. We've got Daniel Lewis just in behind that. Jason Haddington. Well, I think it was the top 4 that managed to sort of get away from that. And then everyone behind. That basically that massive gaggle of cars was everyone that was forced to slow down. And now that's making for a very interesting time into Agostini.
Yeah, Steve Hefford, Dan Lewis, Jason Haddington, all involved in that incident there as well. Charles Kellerman, Alan Toon, yeah, a lot of cars. So, unfortunately, it didn't go well for Dan Lewis there in turn 2. And now we've got Pete Van Gogh out in front by 2 seconds with Ewan Bramer there as well. Darrell Wright is in the mix with Jamie Ayres. Ayres, of course, trying to get some places up currently. He's up 7 here. Tom Griffiths is up 10. So great starts from them guys there as they're gaining positions hand and foot.
Yep, and now side by side, what's this? This is Cullinan, Ayres, Wright, Toon in the mix as well at the background. Let's see if he can make a move. That would be certainly something. Andy Littler's going to be gaining some good points in the AM Championship as well if things stay as they are, being up there in 3rd place overall, being the one really to capitalise mostly on the early carnage. Will it stay that way? Probably not. Will Sylvester and Griffiths catch? Maybe. Owen's in the mix as well. There they are, the chase and pack. That is very daunting. It must be said in the rearview mirror of Andy Littler, the 999 machine. He's got 2 huge names in this championship chasing after him, and surely for him, he's going to get ever so slightly unnerved from it.
Yeah, I would have thought. Ayres has just cleared Ralph Cullinan. Sylvester's into the pits once more. So Sylvester is going to come out from behind that wall on the right-hand side. There he is. I'm wondering if that may be another jump start from Sylvester, or he's got damage. Jamie Ayres and Ralph Cullinan running side by side. Cullinan's going to go up the inside. Ayres doesn't look like he's got the pace here, Zach. I'm wondering if he's got damage currently at the moment.
Maybe. Obviously, it is easy to get inside line for Jamie Ayres as they work their way into Montreal. Cullinan on the outside, no real way through for him unless he puts his foot down, which he doesn't. Yeah, it is easy obviously to get damage here, specifically in crashes like that initial stage. Andy Littler though, under pressure from Tom Griffiths, who's looking to the left-hand side going into Agostini. That's of course the right-hand side of your screen. The blue and chrome red Momo car gets his way to the inside. That's Tom Griffiths. Already won 2 races so far this evening, and well, he's worked his way up onto the podium for race 4 as well. He is a man on form. What was his result in the race that he didn't win? That was obviously race 2.
Race 2, sorry, race 2, yeah.
So has he been on the podium every race so far this evening?
Yes, he won race 1, he won race 3, just race 2 he wasn't there.
Wow, that is seriously impressive stuff, it must be said, from Tom Griffiths. The pace that he has shown is incredible. Yeah, he finished 6th in race 2. That's the only one he hasn't finished on the podium on. So if he can continue this and keep this form up, then he is closing some really good points in the championship. I mean, as it stands, he is, just taking a quick look, at the moment, 54 points off the leader of Jamie Ayres. Jamie Ayres hasn't had a bad evening today, but Griffiths has just had such a good one that I think he's sort of fermented himself now to say, this is my championship fight too, lads.
Definitely as well. That gap up front is coming down at the moment. It's 1.4 seconds between Bramer and Van Gogh. So I'll be interested to see how, after that one, what it will be This gap is closing here. Jamie Ayres is just about to clear Andy Littler. He's on the right-hand side. I don't think Littler's going to put up much of a fight. He's trying to run side-by-side down into turn 1. He's on the left there in the 999. He's going to sort of just slightly lift a little bit, and Ayres is going to go through. So Littler does go down into 6th. Still leading the AM Championship, though, as well, with Darrell Wright sitting down in 8th place overall. So he's got a little bit of a gap, but now he's under attack from Ralph Cullinan here, who wants to kind of stop the rot a little bit, because behind Ralph Cullinan is Darrell Wright.
Yeah, and obviously Darrell Wright is a man on a mission over the course of last week, this week and next week, with Sean Yunye's absence. Obviously only 2 of those weeks can Sean Yunye drop completely. One of them he will genuinely lose points to Darrell Wright. Wright wants to make sure that he is on it week in, week out, maximising his points tally to close that gap in the championship, or even extend it further if he can get in front of Sean Yunye and build up a bit of a buffer. That would be an ideal situation for Darrell Wright in that AM Championship, because Sean Yunye is not going to be a easy force to beat. Cullinan on the inside of Andy Littler into Oggy's, thought about it, definitely had a good look, but Littler's got it covered for now. However, he's going to try and want to keep as many places between him and Wright as possible, and if that means defending from Cullinan, I'm sure he's going to be fine with it.
Cullinan got a great exit out of Williams. They're already side by side here. Cullinan can't slip back in and get the toe. He's alongside at the moment. Wright is all the way to the right. Cullinan to the left. Cullinan goes through. Wright sticks in behind him. Now it's whether or not Cullinan is going to get away, which I think he will do. And Littler under attack from Darrell Wright. That's going to be interesting to see how that one works. The gap up front back out to about 1.4. It did almost touch a second at one point, but it looks like Ewan Bramer has lost time over the last third of this racetrack, and it's now 1.5. The car's very spread out here, Zach. I don't think we've seen this before ever in the 5-6 seasons that we've been doing the UK SimRacers. Cars this gapped, this amount of gaps.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, certainly I can't recall a race where it's been this spread out.
No, there isn't.
I can't think. Obviously, we've had gaps. We've had people run away with wins, but we've always had something. Even if it's a fight for 10th, even if it's a fight for 9th, there's something going on. And to be fair, we've got that. We've got teetering on the edge. Miles Owens going deep there obviously doesn't help his case versus Tom Griffiths, John Sylvester and Sir Alan Toon, but realistically this fight isn't going to last for too long. Apart from that, there's not really much going on, which is a shame, because yeah, I think what the cause of it is that these guys are so competitively close. The gap between PVG, Bramer and Griffiths in terms of sheer lap time is nil, right? It's a couple of tenths, it's half a tenth, if that, right? So when you open the gaps up to 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds, and there's no external forces like battling or slipstream to allow those gaps to close, they're just at stalemate. They're doing the same lap times. They're not making mistakes. They're not battling to slow each other down. They are just staying at that gap because none of them have the extra little bit to close the gap more. And maybe they are a tenth or two a lap quicker, but that isn't enough in a 15-minute race to close a substantial gap, which I think is why we're seeing these slightly larger gaps start to form. And obviously, being competitive is great when the grid is close together. As soon as it's not, it's just a case of, well, can someone do something? Can someone be quicker? So can someone make a mistake to make this a bit more interesting? Fortunately, I think that's been the case with Miles Owens, because he's got the championship leader of Jamie Ayres all over his tail.
Yeah, he definitely has at the moment as they're running off round turn 11. Jamie Ayres tucked up right behind him currently at the moment here as well. An absolutely stellar job from Jamie Ayres. There is Miles Owens in front of us as we're heading off round Coram now, the right-hander. We're looking for the bollards on the right-hand side where to brake. We just get past the free, down we go. Owens goes in, he gets a lot better exit than Ayres has here as well. Now can Ayres close up some of his 4 attempts that he has got a gap currently at the moment, 206.362 from Bramo. He's pulled out about 3 attempts, 4 attempts over PVG in that last run of laps. Is he going to be able to make that gap up? It's now down to 1.1. It is closing, but is it going to close enough with the last 6 minutes here, though, Zach? But Ayres did look like he got a little better run than Owens out of riches now. Is he going to make that move into turn 2? He's not. The gap up front is down to 7 attempts here. Van Gaal is losing time on the beginning of this lap here, Zach, hand over foot.
He is 4 tenths on that last lap. A 6.786 for PVG, a 6.362 for Ewan Brain, with the Flying Dutchman out in front, 1 and 2. And now we get to see who's going to be the better of the two in race 4 here at Snetterton. Also, this fight for 4th, Jamie Ayres, the championship leader, on the back of Miles Owens, pulls out to the left-hand side into Agostini. Not quite close enough, but there was a thought in the back of Ayres' mind. He was like, do I go for it? Should I? I probably shouldn't, but should I? Like, how cool will I look if I go for this? It's always a temptation, but I think it was the right call for Ayres to sit back there. And now he knows he's got an opportunity through the Bentley straight into Brundle and Nelson if he's got the pace. But also keep in mind that, Tom Griffiths isn't a million miles away. They can see him. And if they are quicker, they might be able to close the gap. But I don't think Jamie Ayres is going to be too interested in sitting behind Owens for that long to see if 3 seconds can close.
Yeah, he's definitely closing now. It's coming down to 2 tenths. It's just broken to 1.5, 1.3, 1.1, down to 0. Ayres does send it up the inside. Owens turns in. Oh! Ayres is gone. Oh,
is he back?
He's back. There he is.
He's there.
Dutch versus Dutch, says Thijs van Gaal. Yeah, it is. It's nearly out about 8 tenths again here. Bremer needs to have one of the stellar laps he has just had. Sir Alan Toon, unfortunately, saving the groundsman a job here at Snetterton and chewing up the grass once more. Andy Littler has got Darrell Wright climbing all over him. This is for the AM lead, of course, currently at the moment here as well. So Andy Littler currently leading the AMS. Gaps down to 5-6 tenths now up front. It's coming down, Zach, but is it going to come down enough before the end of the race?
That's the question. That is the question, isn't it? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. This fight for the AM lead, though, is going to be very interesting. Littler already on the defensive. Wright just says, cool, in a bit, mate. I think that is going to be the case. Outside line through Ritchie's. Littler's not squeezing him too much. Backs out. Wright's in the lead of the AM race and up into 7th place overall. Nice little move there. I don't think Littler was too interested in fighting him all too much. What we have now got is this fight for now 4th, and also the fight for the lead as well. Yeah, Ewan Bramer once again even quicker.
You can see it at the top there. They've just got past the top part of your screen. Griffiths is it's not battling actually. That's Steve Hefford. I think Hefford's a lap down here. He is currently at the moment. PVG out in front. Bramer pulled out an absolute chunk of time out of him, but seemed to have lost it the next corner, which is a very bizarre way of doing that. He pulled out loads going up through Agostini. He got him down to about 4 tenths, and now he's back out to nearly 9 tenths. So Bramer and Van Gaal battling it out here as well. Van Gaal trying to weave to the right hand side to break the toe. Bramer is coming in very, very slowly here as well. What about Ayres and Owens? They're side by side already, as Ayres got a great run out of Williams here. He does overtake Owens. Is Owens going to send it out the inside though into Brundle? It's going to be... That is not going to help me. I'm not going to lie. Jamie Ayres has a little bit of an internet spike there as well, but Owens hugs that inside line. Oh, there was almost a fault from Ayres there as well. Owens almost closed the door, but left it open, and Ayres goes through there as well. So an incredible job from Jamie Ayres, but that must have been difficult with the fact that Ayres is disappearing every now and then.
Yeah, it's never great when you're fighting a ghost. As good of a driver as Jamie Ayres is, as good of a driver as Miles Owens is, you can't be expected to predict, especially... Whoa! Miles Owens! You even saw there, because obviously these cars are open top, you can see, and they haven't got a solid roof. You can actually see, and you could see the correction on the driver did on the steering wheel. Fair enough. I honestly was expected to go, Miles Owens has spun. Fair enough. All right, I'll give him that. I'm actually taken aback a bit by that, because that was a good catch from Miles Owens. I was about to say, obviously, you can't actually predict what your car's about to do, and then he goes and saves it. Like, fair play. Ewan Bramer, you can tell, is pushing because he just went onto the grass going into Palmer, and he's pushing because PVG's reopened this gap back up over a second, and what we're on now, the penultimate lap of this, maybe...
It's going to be really close again.
It can be really close, isn't it?
Really close, yeah. For us up here in the booth, I know we normally say we're on the last lap here, but this is going to be really, really close. As we found out in race 3, it did turn out to be the end of the race when we've had 2 8-lap races and 1 7-lap race. And I've got a funny feeling this is going to be even closer here as well, as they're coming under the last minute. They have got the Bentley straight. They've got the whole of turn 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13 to go. So this could be Bramer Braymer's last opportunity here as well, but I don't think he's close enough. He's 9 tenths back, 8 tenths back. He's just not pulling it in enough. He could do with one more lap, to be fair to him, Zach, no, I think, to have another go. But yeah, there's parts of the circuit where unfortunately PVG is a lot quicker, and there's part of the circuit where Braymer is quicker. As you see, Van Gaal's been quicker this time around over sectors 1 and Braymer has been quicker over sector 1 and 2, but there are certain parts where PVG does open it up. But this is, I don't even think the game's going to know what's going to happen here, because this is going to be incredibly close. Once more here, it is the checker flag's out. It's out. Braymer's not going to do it. PVG is going to win. He is going to take it here, and PVG does go over the line with Iwan Braymer in second place there. Tom Griffiths is going to come over in third, and again another 7-lap race that was, I don't know, seconds away from being an 8-lap.
Yeah, so race 1 was 7, right?
8.
Race 2 was 8. Was it? Well, so race 1 and 2 were 8. Race 3 and 4 was 7.
Yeah.
Ooh, wow.
And then the AMs, Darrell Wright takes the win, so well done to him. Yeah.
Round of applause. Nice job, Darrell Wright. Again, good points in the AM Championship. I would just like to point out, PVG makes it my 3rd win of this evening. And I claim these as my wins, by the way, because I know they've done the driving, done the hard work, and I've just sat on my backside drinking a can of Coke. Other drinks are available, by the way, and commentated on pretend race cars. And they've done all the hard work. But it's still my win, because I said they were going to win. I put my faith into them, and they go out there and do it. And that's 3 and 4 for this evening. So I'm a happy bunny, James Parfitt.
Yeah, I bet you are. But I was 3 out of 4 for last week, so, you know. And you had a DNF last week, and I've got a DNF this week, so... Yeah,
but it's fine, because you've got Biggles next time, and we... Yeah, do I trust Biggles to carry on for the week?
Or you can just put the scores on hold if you really want to.
No, because that's no fun, because you can't have fun at Jerez in a week. Yeah. Jerez is a good track.
No, it's not.
I'll trust him. Do you not like Jerez?
No, I do not. Here are the race results from race 4. PVG out in front, Iwan Braymer in second. Van Gaal was just too quick. Yeah, he definitely was. Tom Griffiths in third, Jamie Ayres 4th, Miles Owens 5th, Ralph Cullinan 6th, Darrell Wright 7th, Andy Littler 8th, John Sylvester 9th, Charles Kellerman 10th, Haddington 11th, Sir Alan Toon 12th, Hepford Down in 13th, Dan Lewis 14th, and Dan Hunt did not take to the start. No, I don't like Jerez. I'm not going to lie. I was there the other day. What was I there for? I was there for something the other day, to be honest.
Cleos?
No. F3s.
Oh, what, the IGPs?
Yeah, the IGP reviewing. And yeah, do you know what? It's the Spanish tracks seem to not lend themselves to some great racing. Don't get me wrong, the IGP boys put on a show, right? And they always do. But it's like, you know, who's that disappearing over there as well? That's not an ideal way.
That is a car up the down.
It is. Yeah, the Catalonia, I want to see how this Aragon gets on. I haven't commentated at Aragon yet. So,
no, that's a good shout, actually.
That's one of the new tracks. So I want to see if it's just a Spanish thing with circuits that just don't always lend themselves to great racing. I'm not lying, am I? Come on. Catalonia at some point is literally, I could go asleep with some of the races there as well. So, look, I'm not going to lie about it, right? I'm sorry. If anybody takes offence to this, it's not my fault. But it's, you know, at the end of the day, Catalonia at certain points just drives me absolutely insane. The best race we've seen is the SRL TCRs when they raced the historic. They didn't go round the full one, and that was probably one of the best races we've seen. But some of the others has just been, dire.
I have good memories of Catalonia, to be fair. I'll be honest. On our Factor 2, the Formula Sim Racing World Championship, they had such a good race at Catalonia. In all fairness, it wasn't a race, it was more a strategy, which I think kind of sort of lend itself a bit better for it.
No, I'm sorry.
But it was honestly, I enjoyed myself. No. And at Catalonia, I agree. Catalonia does need some work. But because it wasn't a bad race.
It can be at times.
But there's good races. on bad racetracks.
Yeah, I know. And the guys at Jerez, the IGP did do a stellar job, but it was still, I don't know. I just can't do it. But anyway, sum up for this evening for us before we close out for the evening, young Zachary.
Well, we're here at Snetterton Racing Circuit in Snetterton in Norfolk, the #1 county in the UK. And it was perfection for this entire evening. I absolutely loved every second of it. And there's no bias in that whatsoever. But no, in all seriousness, race 1 was perfect. Race 2 was amazing. Race 3 and 4, yeah, a little bit shaky. The driving standards wise, a couple of incidents that didn't need to happen. But we had 4 very deserved winners, 12 very deserved podium place finishes as well, and 4 really good races to sort of round off the first half of season 2 in 2023. So, yeah, really good first half of the season, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the second half brings as well.
Yeah, definitely as well. But join us later on for the BSC from Bristol Motor Speedway if you love your NASCARs as well. And it normally turns out to be a great race, I'm not going to lie, there as well. So definitely one of the series that I do look forward to. Thanks for a great night and racing, guys. I see you next week, says Tyes as well. Phil, thanks for another great evening of racing. And Charles Kellerman, oh well, he's put. So there you go. Ewan Bramer still 1-2 Dutch. Yes, it definitely was there as well. But that rounds out tonight's broadcast, guys, from us up here in the booth, from myself and Zach Sweeney. Take care. Have a great week. And as always, you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.